They built Uber before Uber existed, making businesses tick with technology. That's what Switchplane do. A tech powerhouse in the sleepy seaside town of Eastbourne, run by two inspirational brothers. What's next? Tune in for this insightful conversation about AI, what it is, and how it can help your company. Hey everyone, welcome back to Work This Way. Today we are recording in Foundry, Eastbourne, in the Beacon Shopping Centre, right in the heart of Eastbourne. And we're joined by Tom Fielder. Tom is co-founder, owner of Switchplane. Tom, thanks for coming in. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. We're looking forward to this one. I now know how important integrations are.
Yeah.
And I know that is very much a big part of what Switchplane do.
That is it. That's one of the core reasons that we exist, is to bring systems together, ultimately, help people get away from spreadsheets, disparate systems all over the place. Yeah, bringing all of your data into one central platform so that you can have that as your business, so you can run your business from one place, not hundreds of different systems that you've got to copy data to. You're not managing the systems, you're having a business. Yeah, so you run a business, not a series of systems. And so you need a system really that helps you to deliver that service or that product or whatever it is. And that's what we help people to do.
Switchplane have been a founding member at Foundry. So thank you in Eastbourne. You were one of the first through the door. And I remember the tour, in fact, that I gave. And it was a very dark space with none of the windows were punched out. So it was completely pitch black. And I was walking around going, there's going to be an office over here and there's going to be a lounge over there and desks over here. And thanks to your team, you guys really bought in. And yeah, you were one of the very early movers in Eastbourne, I think day one, in fact.
Yeah, we were happy to be there. It was great buying into the vision, to be honest. So we had used some co-working spaces previously, because obviously it was off the back of COVID, where we decided we're going to close our office. Now everyone needs to be working from home. But then as stuff slowly started to come back, we kept the hybrid working. So we looked for some dedicated spaces in Eastbourne. And to be honest, there aren't many, not of the kind of style that we're looking for. As a tech company, it's supposed to be, stuff's supposed to look good and feel good. I can't have someone walking into our offices and it looks like it's something from the 1920s with paint peeling off the walls. It's not good enough. So when you guys were doing this and we were thinking, okay, the vibe here is what we're going for.
See, Eastbourne's a relatively small town, 100,000, 105,000, something like that. How's hiring?
So hiring is tough. Yeah. It is.
Tough everywhere.
It is tough. And most people I speak to say it's tough.
Yeah.
And for us, it's how do we find software engineers locally that can deliver the kind of quality of service that we're looking for? You can outsource stuff wherever you like, but the quality is pretty poor. So we're very much in control of what we do when we directly employ people. So for us, that's one of our key differentiators between other companies. We're directly employing people, so we've got direct control over the output that we're producing.
So your software engineers effectively are in-house?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All of our software engineers are in-house, trained by us, using our systems to build bespoke stuff for our clients, whether that's apps to help them collect data, maybe if they run a service business and they've got to go out on site, collect information through an app, have that reported back to a central platform somewhere, and then the office team manage that platform.
Tom, take us back. How did you start Switchplane with your brother Joel?
I'd left school, and I'd been to college for a year, studying sort of IT and other stuff. And I decided it just wasn't for me. I was an arrogant 18-year-old and I was like, this is rubbish. I know more than the teacher. And so I dropped out basically after a year. So at this point in time, I'm the least qualified person in the business.
Yeah.
And around that kind of time, Joel he'd been at university studying sound recording and engineering. So there was a crossover into software engineering in that. The company that he did his gap year with had gone bust. So he decided, okay, he's going to come back to Eastbourne, see what I'm doing. And we just started doing something around then. My dad was into IT as well. He was a contractor. So he was writing software and stuff for
So what was the first gig?
We worked out of our bedroom,
Yeah.
converted garage, you know the story.
Yeah.
And we basically did anything for anyone at more or less any price. The first job that we did, like proper job, it was for a guy called Ron. I forgot his last name,
Ron.
but
Ron.
Ron, and he installed flooring. So he was a flooring guy.
Yeah.
And it was just a website. It's just what we'd think of today. It's just a brochure website. But back then, so 20 years ago, these things are fairly new. It was funny because he didn't have any artwork to give us. He had nothing like businesses have today. We put together this crappy website because that's all you could do back then. One way or another, we ended up working with the University of Exeter on a project for an e-shop where you could buy like University of Exeter stuff. And the idea of it was eventually that we were going to build this system that allowed their students to pay for their fees online. So
Oh, yeah.
back then you couldn't do any of this stuff. It was all
Yeah.
bank transfer or whatever, however you paid for it.
Send a check.
Yeah, I didn't go to uni, so I've got no
Yeah.
idea how you paid for this stuff. But yeah, we were going to build a system that let their students do it. But the e-shop went well. They were happy with that, and that we were going to do it as the next project. But then Oracle came in and it said, "Hey boys, would you like a big fat donation?" And Exeter were like, "Yeah, sure, we'd love a donation." And then Oracle were like, "The only caveat is that you have to use this system." And yeah, there's no brainer for them
Yeah.
getting millions of pounds from Oracle.
But that must have been a real opportunity for you to think, hang on a minute,
Yeah,
this before we find our niche.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was. And even by that point, we had figured out that we were better with the more complex stuff, the back end
Yeah.
stuff. But back then, the internet was much more about the brochure websites. People weren't ready for web apps like we know them
Yeah.
today
Yeah.
because there weren't integrated systems available anywhere. It's nothing like that. So it was still very much a brochure website or an e-commerce store. And that was pretty much where we started
Yeah.
building that kind of stuff. But
This is like 2003, right?
yeah, so that's 2003 to 2005
Yeah.
time. It wasn't until 2008 that we actually decided we've got to try and make something of this because we're, like I said, a couple of geeks. We weren't business people, really.
Mm.
We were clueless, to be honest.
You were charging for all this, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
charging, but it was not a huge amount of money.
I've got this thing in my head that you almost created Uber, the platform that
Yeah.
is Uber, as we know it,
Yeah.
years ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Years ahead.
He came to us with the need to let people book their taxis, their private hire vehicles, like for their airport transfers online. And there was nothing that existed like that. It had to figure out distances between pick up and drop off, surcharges for airports and parking restrictions and all this other kind of stuff. And the tracking of the vehicles
Mm.
as well. So that this tech didn't exist back then. There wasn't anything like that.
You went from Ron's Flooring
Yeah.
to beta Uber
Yeah.
in 5 years.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did. Yeah. When you put it that way, yeah, we did.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It's because we found our niche, to be honest. We did discover, okay, we're much better at this back end stuff and creating or solving problems in a creative way that haven't been solved before. And that stayed with us all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
That is honestly, and when you put it into context, that is an incredible story in such a short period of time for you and your brother at the garage.
yeah. Yeah.
Below Len,
Yeah, that's
you
it.
know?
And fortunately, yeah, because we took on those two clients, that was enough to get us going, really. That was the initial investment we needed because we never took a loan
Right.
out from the bank or anything like that. We've always been self-funded. We picked up a wholesaler of fragrance and skincare in Wales. We'd known them of them for a while. And we built a website called extrasense.com. And that was our website selling their perfume.
This is an e-commerce platform, bespoke e-commerce
Yeah,
platform
exactly. So
that you could, in theory, white label.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we built this and it was ours for us, using them as the supplier,
Yeah.
shipping us the goods and then us selling it on.
So you started selling.
So yeah,
Yeah.
we just put the two together and it worked really well for a few years, like 3, 4, 5 years maybe. And we got a sort of a dedicated warehouse for it, just
Oh, wow.
near, not too far from ESK in Eastbourne,
Yeah.
that estate around there. And then eventually, couple of years later, we brought Switchplane and Extra Sense together to another warehouse, become sort of office space in Westham, sublet by Identity,
Yeah.
who Paul Geetson was the guy in charge at that time. I think Michael might have taken over. I wasn't sure.
Right.
But
Identity are a really impressive local business,
that's it. Yeah.
global business.
They are now. Yeah.
That run the G8
Yeah.
summit
And they did the London fireworks
every year.
They
Do the
do
London
that, yeah.
fireworks,
With-
New Year's Eve.
with the guys from On the Sly who do the sound,
Mm-hmm.
who's Eastbourne as well.
These are great, amazing businesses
Yeah.
spun out of Eastbourne
Yeah.
that are doing work all over the world.
Yeah, there's
Incredible work all
really
over the
good
world.
bunch of talent here. Yeah. So yeah, we worked from there for a while. Extra Sense eventually petered out because the costs were just of advertising, marketing was just too high. The margin on the product was too low. So it was pilot high, sell it cheap, but then the marketing effort was too
But presumably
expensive.
all the coding went in and the development of the retail, the e-commerce platform behind it.
Yeah.
That was a massive learning.
It was, and it was generic enough for us to reuse as well. So we built a couple of other e-shops for people, and they were successful with those. And slowly but surely, we kept growing the business and taking on more.
So 2008, you're working on private hire business.
Yep.
When did you start hiring?
It would have been around 2008, 2009.
But assuming you were writing all the code at this point.
Yes,
You're doing
Joel and I,
everything.
we were writing all the code, doing everything.
All self-taught. I know you did a
Yes.
year at college, but
Yeah, no, it was all
you were
it
well
was
ahead
all
of the game.
self-taught, yeah. But then that's it, because that's like I was saying earlier. If you live it and breathe it, and you love it, then it's not really work, is it? You're enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're solving these problems in a creative way. It was just, it was a lot of fun doing that kind of stuff.
Who's your ideal customer?
It's funny because you're sitting here.
Yeah.
It's companies that are scaling, really.
Yeah.
We can help, say, one-man, two-man bands. That's fine. But often they can solve their problems creatively with spreadsheets, with email, and they can use
Bit of
those
Excel
tools.
and
They can use all those tools to solve their problems.
Yeah.
And it's fine for them because they know where everything is. It's when you start scaling that you hit challenges, or you've got complex problems that you need to solve, or you've got compliance. So insurance is a good one. If you make a claim against a train line, then it goes through the systems that we've built. So if your train is delayed or cancelled, and you want to make a claim, then that claim will eventually make its way through the system that we've built. And one of the amazing things about that system is that we've recently launched the replacement for what they had. And one of the amazing pieces of tech that we've built is around OCR. So that's the optical character recognition. So this is reading the user's ticket, getting data from the ticket and processing that, and using AI and tools to figure out whether it's a valid claim.
So basically, I submit a ticket because my train was over X minutes late or whatever it might be. I've submitted it. Your piece of kit can go, nah, it's rubbish. It was actually 22 minutes late, not 25 minutes late.
Yeah.
It's a void claim.
Yeah. So it can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it takes a human
so
element out of it.
because it's quite, if you think about it, that's very intense for someone to be processing all those kinds of
Imagine
things.
going to the ticket office with your ticket going, excuse me, they've got to go through all the facts.
Exactly. So
it takes forever, right?
It'd take forever, yeah.
For 12 quid.
For pence,
Yeah.
The idea is that those like open and shut claims are processed super quick,
Wow.
hands off from people.
That's using AI.
Yeah,
That's using all the tools that are available to us.
Yes and no, yeah.
Right.
There are different aspects and different tools that we use for different systems, but to keep it simple, yes.
So they get flagged by the system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we built that kind of tech as well. And that's it. When you're looking at the scale that they run their operation at, it's mind-boggling
I'm
the
sure.
amount of money that is just saved and can be repurposed and put into other systems. It's amazing. Huge. Yeah.
Where is AI at in the scale of a human being? The life span of a human being? Where is it at now in your view?
There are so many different types of AI. AI is an umbrella term. It's like me saying, where are vehicles these days?
I just think of Terminator 1 still. My childhood was AI.
Yeah, and the thing is, everyone thinks about AI. There's good AI and there's bad AI.
Yeah.
There are people out there that are going to use AI for bad things. There are bad people in the world, of course
Yeah.
there are. You're going to get scammers that are going to be looking at AI and thinking, okay, I can scam people way faster than I used to be able to scam people.
Mhm.
That's going to be amazing. And then on the flip side, you've got people building AI for good. I think was it BT? I even saw this advert from BT where they had this AI chatbot that was calling up scammers and just keeping them on the line for ages,
So they could,
as if it was an old lady talking to them and saying, "Yeah, I'm
once they get
sorry,
their
I've
IP
just
address or something.
yeah, I just let me just find my driver's license. I'll just hold on a second. Just bear with me, dear," and all this stuff.
Genius.
It is genius. It is, yeah. AI is our generation's massive thing, and yeah, everybody needs to be taking advantage of it. But like I say, there are loads of different types of AI. You've got obviously ChatGPT or any kind of chatbot. Those tools are great. You should be using those. You should always check references because it's wrong a lot of the time. It presents itself as being all knowing, but AI under the hood, it's more probability based. Whilst ChatGPT comes across as very certain, actually the inner workings, it's much more
Is it just taking a stab at things?
e- educated guess. It's our experience in life,
Yeah.
is our training data.
Running your own business, tough.
Yeah.
A lot of listeners, a lot of our network listening know that for
Yep.
sure. Are there points along the journey where you've gone, I've had enough of this?
I don't know if I've ever said to myself, I've had enough.
Mm.
I'm a very determined person and very stubborn. There's been low points though. You take COVID, for example, a really tough time for a lot of businesses. And yeah, okay, might wonder why, how were we affected? But we had clients that are in the tourist industry, talking about the private
Yeah.
hire guy. His business was absolutely flying
Mm.
until COVID hit, lockdown.
Decimated it.
There are
Yeah.
no private hire taxis required anymore.
Yeah.
And so his business just changed like that overnight. And we had other businesses that are in similar kind of industries. So obviously there's a knock on effect for us, just like other companies would have felt. Okay, we're not frontline to COVID, but we felt it very hard. We had to use the furlough scheme and all that kind of stuff. And we essentially used up our entire war chest of cash that we'd been putting away over the whole period of
Mm.
just to keep everything going and keep people employed. But yeah, then slowly but surely we come out of it and things start to tick up again. But it certainly set us back. And if ever there was a time that I felt worse, that would probably be it.
Yeah.
Like I say, we made it
You
through.
pulled through. Yeah.
We had a really solid customer base, really.
Why did you decide to stay in Eastbourne?
Yeah, it's interesting. We did think about doing or moving to Brighton, maybe even doing the whole London thing. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I think we just decided it wasn't for us, actually. One of the privileges of running your own business is you get to make those calls. And whether other people look at that decision and think it's right or wrong for them, it doesn't really matter. I can do my own thing. And yeah, we just decided we grew up here. We like it here. So we're going to stay here. There's plenty of business. There's enough business for us here locally to work with. So why not? Why would we move somewhere else? It would just be a headache to have to move to start with.
And Switchplane, frankly, can work with anyone, anywhere.
That's it. Yeah. And we're in that privileged position. Yeah. So we work with companies all over, companies in Wales and even in South Africa. We have
Mm.
had a customer that was out there. Yeah, we're privileged in that regard that we can work with anyone from anywhere, really. It's nice to be close, though, so that we can go and see them, get a good look at their business and understand them. But yeah, we've loved it here. The whole image of Eastbourne around it's just a population of aging people. Such a myth. And it's one of those myths that we want to try and dispel. So it's one of the things that we're involved in as Switchplane is Chalk Eastbourne. And it's all about helping Eastbourne. So trying to change the perception of Eastbourne, trying to encourage young people to look at Eastbourne as not only just a place that they grew up, it's a place that they can live and work. There are a lot of young people that live here,
There's the data analyst in you.
but it's such a great place to bring up
Yeah.
a family as well. Anyone who wants to work in a professional environment, but also wants to bring up a family, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, to be perfectly honest. Brighton's great. I like the odd trip to Brighton, but I don't want to bring up a family there. It's just not quite for me. The seafront is great here. there's things that people will want. You might want a bit more of a buzz in some places, but then some other people like it the way that it is. And that brings me on to the whole Digifest.
So Digifest started when?
So 2023, we did our first event. That was at the Welcome Building.
Yeah.
And it was really well received. We had so much positive feedback. And yeah, like it was all to do with Chalk Eastbourne, trying to promote Eastbourne, bring different businesses together here, locally together to say, actually, hey, there's a lot of us, and trying to boost that industry. And that's what Digifest was all about, bringing people together, showcasing that actually Eastbourne is more than just a visiting place. It's a destination. And we had a lot of support locally, like from you guys as well. Like Foundry, you guys have been great. We've had support from the Chamber. We've had support from PRG, Fountain Digital, the Council, Tech Native Digital. So we've had support locally. It was amazing. It's tricky because the first year, you don't know whether it's the honeymoon period. So you do that first event and everyone's, wow, that was amazing. It was great. It was such a good vibe. And you think, okay, we need to do this again. And we want to do this again. But is anyone actually going to help us to do it? Are they going to put their hands in their pockets and put some money on the table, sponsor it, or do something to help? Otherwise, at that point, it's just words. And it's a difficult thing to ask people to do. Say, that, can you help us run this thing? It costs a lot of money to run. We make nothing from it. We make a huge loss from running it. But it's something we really believe in doing. The more people that we can bring together to do it, the easier it becomes. So there was that honeymoon period. Yeah, so it was really good. And we've had a lot of big names. We've had Microsoft there. We've had American Express.
Amazing.
Gatwick Airport. There's been a lot of people come. And so we're hoping that we can it can grow up a little bit. We're hoping that it becomes a thing in its own right rather than so supported by us financially, basically. We need support from people to make
Come on, everyone, get behind it in Eastbourne.
Yeah, and so for 2025, speaker slots are going to be opening soon. So if anyone's interested, then they should email Donna and Sarah, hello@chalkeastbourne.com for details.
How do you switch off?
It's a hectic life. I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't like being bored. But yeah, I've got a young family, obviously run a business. So those two things predominantly take up all of my time. But I like to do a bit of sports. So I play football twice a week.
You 5-a-side?
5-6-a-side, yeah.
Where's that in Eastbourne?
So we play in Hampden Park.
Yeah.
There's a school there. They've got a 3G pitch that we play on.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's good.
Dads, is it?
It's a mix, actually. Yeah.
You still get about?
Mostly tradespeople these days.
Class of you. Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been really interesting. Thanks for being so transparent about your geekiness and your brilliant story with Joel, right the way from Ron all the way out to the Beta Uber platform, basically, to where you are today, which is a thriving, fantastic business, employing locally in Eastbourne and very much a part of our community in Foundry Eastbourne. So thank you. How do our members, listeners, network get in touch with Switchplane?
If you want to get in touch with Switchplane, you can take a look at the website. So switchplane.com. If you want to reach out to me personally, you can check me out on LinkedIn. So I'm Tom Fielder on LinkedIn. You'll be able to find me on there. I think I've got a picture of myself with a hat on, something like that.
Looking very cool. Not nerdy.
Who knows? But yes, thank you so much for having me on. Foundry is such a great place to work. We wouldn't have it any other way.
Thank you, Tom. A real insightful conversation. Your ability to break down big, scary tech terms for normies like me to understand is a real skill. And I think our members will find it useful. Thanks for listening to this episode of Work This Way. This episode was presented by myself, Adam Walker, edited by Josh Hall, and produced by Gary James. Leave us a big 5-star review if you've enjoyed this episode, and subscribe on Apple or Spotify. See you next week.